Greetings and welcome to the Modern Alchemist Channel. I'm Aubrey Forrest, the Modern Alchemist, and this is Alchemy Journal. Today on Alchemy Journal, we'll be talking about some much needed R&R here on the Modern Alchemist Channel, and I'm not talking about rest and relaxation. The other things we'll be talking about are some copyright issues that came up this morning. Thank you, Warner Brothers. And we'll be talking about where we've been on the Modern Alchemist Channel thus far and where I plan to go in the future. So with that said, let's get started. First off, R&R on the Modern Alchemist Channel. When I'm talking about R&R, I'm talking about refining and revision of certain ideas. And by that, I mean that over the last 2 years as a symbologist, as you work with this material, you begin to understand that certain ideas could be explained better. That certain means or methods of expressing those ideas could be explained clearer. And so I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to, or more fully, right? So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be providing that, and specifically it has to do with many of the Egyptian narratives associated with some of their more potent or strong symbols, like the Eye of Horus, or the Eye of Re, or the Wadjet Eye, or any eye that in particular. Now, we've talked about those things gradually, and in particular, the Eye of Horus. This is one thing that I still get comments from the video I did 2 years ago, right, which was that tiny little one where we just cover the math of the eye, and that's it. I've evolved a lot in my understanding of that, and of course I've shared that evolution with you over several videos and classes. But beyond all of that, what my understanding is of that symbol and its significance has increased exponentially, orders of magnitude. And so it really is necessary for me then to share that with you, to bring that to the fore, to let you know what's going on. And much of the reason for the revision or the refinement of that has to do with what I call the Piscean lens, or the lens of Pisces. The concept I introduce in Is It the Age of Aquarius video, and essentially what it is it's the degree of distortion that we experience when we look around us, and as we've looked around ourselves for the last couple thousand years. We don't see anything in the universe that would imply that the myths and legends that we read about these ancient heroes had anything to do with reality, that it was something that was actually experienced. This causes a bit of cognitive dissonance for most scholars and symbologists, because the thing that you're looking for when studying a symbol is actually the context wherein it's given, and then to point directly to the thing that it's speaking about, because a symbol is always representative of a person or a place or a thing. It literally is, but you have to understand what specifically it is representing. In order to understand that, you have to understand its context. Now that I've decrypted the overall context and been able to apply that to the precession of the equinox as a means of clocking it out, looking at it and seeing when these things would be expected to fall mythologically, and then confirming that they actually did fall in those periods, I've been able to produce for myself a history of where we've been. And of course, as I mentioned in Alchemy Journal WE on the Modern Alchemist Channel in Wordpress, this interpretation of this information places me in opposition to a great many things which are conventionally held or understood, and somewhat marginalizes me. And I've been resistant to take that position because it's not really comfortable to be there. It's not really fun to be on the margin. But the truth is that any time that any innovation has ever taken place within the sciences, it's never come from the center, right? It's always come from the outside, pushing inward with a new means or a new method of understanding or interpreting these things. Now, I don't particularly say that mine is new, but certainly mine is now being made public, whereas this other stuff, I'm convinced, has been retained privately among select groups for a very long period of time. And for whatever reason, this information is growing more available so long as you have the tools by which to interpret it. So there's that. Now, So there's that all is a component then of the revision and revising. One other thing I want to address, I've received a lot of emails about the Modern Alchemist podcast number 9, which covers the Trump cover of the Economist magazine, right, where it's the tarot Trump cover. And will I be redoing that or updating that? No. I don't want to. I don't, not because of any other reason than I am satisfied with the product, even though certain things didn't turn out. My response to that is it was never designed to be predictive. That's why in the title I say deciphered as opposed to predictions, because it is not a prediction. It was what was, I think, the wish list of the financial interests that are in charge of deep government. And so those interests then were expressing themselves publicly in a codified way, and that's what that cover was about. So the fact Le Pen didn't win, not a problem for me, because that was just who I believe, based on looking at their drawing and looking at the news and understanding politics, that was probably who they would like because of this massive rush inward. There's one other thing I just want to add to that, and it is interesting, and you, those of you who've been following me on this channel understand, especially after the last Ask an Alchemist, you understand that my method often involves the same conscious processes that I discuss in time travel, and consciousness. And so using that as a means of acquiring information, that can also find itself lensing out to a prevailing consciousness. What I'm speaking of specifically is the fact that I kept misunderstanding or misinterpreting the flag of the Netherlands for the Soviet Union. That still bugs me. But it bugs me because it literally was like laid over whatever vision that you're using when you do this sort of thing. And it definitely implies that December 6th of 2016, when I was doing this, that there was a rising tide clearly in relation to Russia, and that no one could have possibly predicted, unless those, of course, who were engaged in it, that it would turn to all of what we've experienced today. So I will probably do some talking politics about this sometime in the future if I can see a correlation, but overall, no, I don't want to readdress that material with regard to that thing. So I just wanted to let you know that. Now, with regard to the next topic, copyright. This morning I cranked on the email and I was notified by YouTube that one of my mirror sites, Zen Master Hubba Bubba, had a video that was banned. Thank you, Warner Brothers. And the video ban was for the esoteric schmackdown Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. And the claim is frivolous, clearly. Because even during the credits, when I'm showing the clips, I'm commenting on the nature of the clips and the nature of the movie with relation to the overall topic matter at hand, which was the deconstruction of Kabbalah, using that movie as a means by which to deconstruct those symbols. And every clip that I use is an actual comment on how those symbols are used. Plus they have all sorts of drop downs and things in there, which is additional commentary. So Warner Brothers and you guys who decide to pull that, shame on you, because that's just not cool. But it hasn't been pulled as of yet from the Modern Alchemist Channel. So if you want to see what all the hubbub is about, go check that video out. It's 42 minutes long. I'm really happy with what was produced with that. Will I be revising that video? Probably not. So because it took a lot of time to produce, and I just don't want to have to go through and cut all the video clips out. I suppose I could make a copyright-free version, but frankly, you've seen my videos. At the end of every video, even ones that don't have clips, I run this thing, right, that talks about copyright law and fair use. And definitely I exercised my right for fair use, but this is this new age on YouTube, where copyright's just really cinching down, and the only thing a person has to do to make a copyright claim is to just say that someone violated their rights. They don't have to prove anything. They just have to say it, and then the video's pulled. That's it. End of story. And then I have to prove my innocence. which takes time. And I would rather take the time that would take to prove the innocence regarding that claim and just keep making more cool stuff for you here and writing really cool stuff on WordPress for you there. So with that then, no more talk about copyright, but definitely you can see how this affects everybody out here on YouTube, man. This copyright issue. It's hard to teach when you can't show someone physically what it is that you're talking about as a teacher, right? I'm now left to talking about the image. It's so crazy. So anyway, there's that. Finally, what's coming up? Well, what's been going on the Modern Alchemist channel? First off, granted, we had planned on an Essentials of Practical Alchemy Vernal Equinox edition. That didn't happen. A lot of stuff happened here at home, and it really occupied my attention, and I just didn't have time to organize all that stuff to get the classes rolling. Probably a good thing, because as a result of the delay, it allowed me to distill certain ideas that I was still in formulary of, these concepts which are what I think foundational now. So those now are established, and as time lengthens out around them, I'm able to share those with you as we proceed forward towards midsummer, which is where I'm planning to do the Essentials of Practical Alchemy again, just like I did the last 2 years. It seems like midsummer works really well for everybody, myself included, and so that's probably where we're going to be headed. In the meantime, the goal is to continue producing material here that will guide whoever is waiting for that class in midsummer, or locals who decide to come and attend. Please come and attend. It's way more fun if you guys are here. The material then will seem more review as opposed to brand new ground, right? Because you've had a chance to understand what's coming. And so I'm going to use this next class, just as I used the previous set of classes, to build. One builds upon the last one. And certainly this one here, the big building ground will be to break free of the Piscean lens. And that may wind up being the theme, really, is to identify the lens of Pisces and to deconstruct it so that you, as a symbologist, as a scholar, as an alchemist, as a person seeking out and understanding what all this stuff's about, you'll have the right tools, right? With the right tools, you can do the job. So that's coming. I'm hoping to do more videos like esoteric schmackdowns and honest movie reviews. I have been seeing movies. I've shied away over the last couple months, and I think I've gotten over it, but I had shied away from how much to share. I wasn't really sure, and I think I resolved it. I talk all about it in WordPress in the latest Alchemy Journal there, so I'm not going to talk about it here, but I definitely, it was a lot. I had accumulated this burden on my mind, and I think I'm finally free of it, and that's good, because it means that I can produce more. But up until then, it just was kind of putting a chokehold on me, and I think I'm done with that. So with all that said, that's it. We've talked about the R&R, revision and refining of materials, that you should be expecting to see that. We've talked about the copyright stuff that came up this morning, and we've looked at where we've been and where we're going for the future. It looks bright. I'm really excited for everything that we're doing here together. I count this as kind of a together thing, because certainly I am stimulated by your questions, by your interests, and some of you have communicated so fully with me about your personal experience. I'm floored. I am humbled. I'm in awe that I get to participate in that, even a little bit. It keeps, when you just kind of, when you're not sure, and then you get that ding ding on the phone or what have you, and it says, hey, here's an email for the channel, and you read it and you're like, oh, wow, thank you. I mean, I thank you, all of you who write to me and who've commented and shared with me, how this works for you. I appreciate that. And it definitely incentivizes me, inspires me to press forward, to keep doing things, to keep producing. Because there's no point, really, right, to doing any of this if it's not witnessed, if it's not read, if it's not observed. There's just no point. And so that this is a together thing, that's cool. I like that a lot. All right, that's it. I'm Aubrey Forrest, the Modern Alchemist. This is Alchemy Journal online here on YouTube, on the Modern Alchemist Channel. Be sure to check out Wordpress and subscribe there for all sorts of extra stuff that's going to be coming down the pipe. And I'll be talking to you soon.